something rather special for you. Beef and Guinness pie with sour cream pastry. Used to be an old pub favourite of ours. We're going to start by making the sour cream pastry, which is on cookie dough. The actual filling for the pie, the beef in Guinness, I'm going to do manually, but we'll get to that shortly. Okay, so let's just start cooking. So there's 250 grams of plain flour and 200 grams of unsalted butter that has been cubed and chilled in the fridge. Put an escapee there. Just put the lid on. And this is 5 seconds at speed 10. Just going to add 120 grams of sour cream. Let's just show you what we've got in a minute. Lid on and up to the speed of 8. So this is now just going to be finished off with the dough mode. I'll just show you what we've got a minute. So it's just 30 seconds. On the dough mode, which is just going to knead the pastry. Okay, so there we've got the soft pastry. I'm just going to pop that onto the Thermomat. Fold that up and put it into the fridge until we need it later. Okay, the pastry is chilling in the fridge. Next we're going to do is to actually build a bit of flavour. So we're going to caramelise some onions that are going into the filling. Just going to start by adding a clove of garlic and a few sage leaves. And we're just going to chop those. So that's just going to be 3 seconds on speed 7. Of the bowl. Okay, so we're going to actually caramelise some onions. So I'm going to go to recently cooked and browned onions. We're going to restart that recipe. So start cooking. Some olive oil. And 200 grams of onion that are just sliced. So we're going to put the splash guard on because this is going to utilise the high heat mode. And this is the high heat symbol, so we're just going to turn that. So we've got 60 minutes whilst those onions get nice and brown and caramelised. Take the lid off, have a little look. So those are our caramelised, or browned onions, not really caramelised. Just going to transfer those to a bowl. And the next thing we're going to do is to build more flavour with the meat by browning the meat. That's the benefit of having the high heat mode on the TM6. We don't need to worry about cleaning the bowl. Okay, so let me start. So we put a little bit of olive oil. Here's our beef, cut into nice thick chunks because I like my beef to be fairly chunky. We're going to do the sauteing of the beef in 2 steps. We're going to use a splash guard again because again we're going to use the high heat mode for sauteing the beef. 5 minutes to brown that bit of beef. Have to be careful of the steam. Obviously pretty hot in there. Okay, so I'm just going to transfer these to a bowl, and then we're just going to repeat that with the remaining beef. Okay, that second batch of beef is done. I'm just going to add a little bit of Guinness now, just to deglaze the, just a splash. Just give that a stir along the base. Okay, so we're actually going to transfer the mixture into a second bowl for doing the slow cook mode. But first of all, I'm just going to add the other sauce ingredients to this one. As I said before, this is using the manual mode, and that's because it's an old recipe, a favourite of mine. So there's lots of recipes around for doing beef and Guinness pie, lots of different takes on the sauce and what you might add to the beef. But this is a recipe that we really like, so we're just following that but transferring it to the Thermomix. So I'm just going to add a tablespoonful of corn flour, half a teaspoon of thyme, teaspoon of soy sauce, and a tablespoon of Worcester sauce, an oxo cube beef, and a tablespoon of tomato paste. I'm just going to give that a bit of a stir. So we'll just go to home. We're just going to stir it for 20 seconds on about speed 2, but reverse because we don't want to chop the meat. Okay, so that's just mixed. What I'm going to do now is put the blade cover in. So this blade cover protects whatever you're cooking from the blades, but the veins in there allow the movement of the liquid. So it just goes on top of the blades. There's only one way that it can go in, so you can't do anything wrong there. And we're just going to add the onions, the rest of the beef, the rest of the Guinness, and the contents of this bowl. As you can see, there's a nice looking gravy in there already. That we're not up to the max line, which is something that you do have to be aware of, particularly if you're converting a recipe yourself. So you don't want to overfill your bowl. Okay, so let's just swipe and find slow cook. So you can cook for up to 8 hours. I'm actually just going to cook for 4 hours. And choose the temperature 95 and just start. So that is just going to take 4 hours to slow cook, and then we'll have a look what it's like and make the pastry casing and finish up. so there's our slow cooked beef in Guinness gravy. What I'm going to do now is just pour this into a thermo server. I've got a simmering basket in here which I'm going to use to strain the meat from the gravy. Okay. What I also want to do is just remove the blade cover. And that means I can put gravy back into the bowl, or at least some of the gravy back into the bowl, and just thicken some up to go into the pie, and keep slightly more runny gravy to accompany the pie. So I'll probably put about a third of this back in, and add to that a tablespoon of corn flour that's dissolved in just a little bit of red wine. Okay, so just pop this back in here. Back on. We're going to go back to the home screen, just give it 1 minute. And we'll keep it at about 80, and we'll just go speed 2. Okay, so there we've got thickened gravy. So that will go into the pie with the meat. Transfer the meat into the pie casing. Just going to put a little bit of the thickened gravy over the meat. And then we just have to top it with a top layer of pastry. It's looking good. Don't want to waste any of that. I'll just use my hand. Okay, so I've got the top pastry pre-rolled here. Just put that over the top. We can just trim any excess off, just make it look neat. And then we'll just put a bit of an egg wash over the pastry. So this will give it a nice browned finish when it comes out of the oven. The oven's on at 160 degrees, fan forced, so that's about 180 in a standard oven. Okay, so she's ready to go in.